Hey, what is up, my fellow rats? It is me, King of the Rats. Yes, you are not hallucinating. I am finally back after a long-awaited break. It has been way too long, man. But just how long has it been? Oof, it really has been that long, huh? I am terribly sorry for that, honestly. I will try my best to regularly upload. That will be my mission, my ninja way, to help those who are bored in need of hearing something scary. But for real, guys, on a real note, I will try to upload regularly, I swear. So anyway, let's get into what the video will be about. And yes, finally, the time everyone has been waiting for, or at least I hope everyone's been waiting for, the top 10 scariest creepypasta video. Yes, it is finally here, guys. So without a minute later, let's get started on this list. 1999 is a creepypasta that presents itself as a blog written by Elliot, a man revisiting his childhood memories of a strange low-budget public access TV channel he watched in 1999. The channel, Calden Local 21, featured bizarre and unsettling children's programming, including shows like Mr. Bear's Cellar, hosted by a man in a bear costume, and Bobby, a show starring a disembodied hand. As Elliot investigates further, he uncovers a horrifying truth. The channel was run by a man named Anthony Puyo, who used it to lure children to his home, where he kidnapped, tortured, and eventually murdered them, potentially even filming these acts or their aftermath. Years later, Elliot, now an adult, seeks to understand the disturbing nature of the channel and the fate of the children who disappeared. He learns that the police investigation revealed that Puyo, who also played Mr. Bear, was responsible for the abduction and murder of at least 16 children. Elliot's investigation takes him back to the town of Calden, where he revisits the abandoned farmhouse that once housed the TV station and the cellar where the children were most likely held captive. He even encounters local teenagers who claim that Puyo still lives in the area, though this is likely just a local myth. The story ends with Elliot viewing the last remaining tape of Calden Local 21, which shows the horrific deaths of the abducted children. Disturbed and traumatized, Elliot decides to abandon his investigation, leaving the reader with a sense of unease and dread. The story's effectiveness stems from its realistic portrayal of a twisted individual exploiting the innocence of children, disguised within the framework of a seemingly harmless children's TV channel. This one should be familiar with everyone, because this one's just really famous. But in the shadowy depths of the Cold War, a chilling tale unfolds: the Russian sleep experiment. Soviet researchers, driven by a twisted ambition, lock 5 political prisoners in a sealed chamber. Their promise? Freedom in exchange for 30 sleepless days, achieved through an experimental stimulant gas. Initially, the atmosphere is tense, but manageable, the scientists observing their subjects through a two-way mirror. However, as the days bleed into weeks, a horrifying transformation begins. The prisoners' sanity unravels, their conversations developing into disturbing murmurs and then long silences. Paranoia takes root, followed by the acts of a bizarre self-mutilation. The once human subjects become aggressive, seemingly immune to pain, their cries echoing through the sterile observation room. When the scientists finally decide to halt the experiment after 15 days, they are met with a terrifying resistance. The prisoners, now monstrously altered and addicted to the gas, beg to remain inside. A bloody confrontation ensues, revealing the full gruesome extent of their transformation. The experiment, meant to push the boundaries of human endurance, instead unleashes something far more sinister, leaving a haunting testament to the darkness that can emerge from the pursuit of the unknown. Have you ever felt like you've been watched in the dead of night? The Rake is a modern creepypasta that taps into that primal fear. It tells the story of a gaunt humanoid creature with razor-sharp claws, often witnessed lurking at the foot of beds or just outside windows. Unlike classic monsters, the rake's origins are shrouded in unsettling ambiguity, with fragmented reports and supposed eyewitness accounts scattered across the internet, giving it an unnerving sense of contemporary reality. The stories often describe a profound sense of dread and paralysis accompanying its appearances. Victims recount walking to find the rake silently observing them, its presence radiating a cold, malevolent intent. These encounters are not always violent, but the psychological impact is profounded, leaving lasting trauma and a lingering feeling of being vulnerable in one's own home. What makes the rake so chilling is its elusive nature and the lack of clear motive. It doesn't always attack, but its silent, watchful presence is deeply disturbing. The creepypasta plays on a vulnerability we feel when we're most defenseless, turning the safety of our bedrooms into a potential stage of a terrifying encounter. The rake lingers in the mind long after the story is over. A shadowy figure is the periphery of our fears. Alright, I'm pretty sure everyone and their mama knows this creepypasta, bro. It's literally been everywhere. Everyone loves him. He's tall, he's black. No, I'm not talking about LeBron. I'm talking about the one, the only, the one that even has his own movie, Slender Man. The Slender Man is a very tall, thin person-like figure, often shown in a black suit. He has no face and sometimes has long arm-like growths that look like tentacles. He started as a scary story picture online in 2009 and quickly became a huge internet legend. What makes Slender Man so creepy is that we don't know much about him. His story, why he does what he does, and his exact powers are never really set, which makes him even scarier. Slender Man usually stalks and takes people, especially children. When he shows up, people often go missing or start to lose their minds. He's often seen in forts or abandoned places. People he targets sometimes get slender sickness, which means they suddenly feel very paranoid and have bad nightmares, and possibly see things that aren't even there. They might even get nosebleeds. He's also known to mess up electronic devices like cameras and phones, making him seem even more unnatural. People love the Slender Man story because it's always changing and growing, from early internet posts and fake photos to scary video series like Marble Hornets and video games. Many people have helped to build his legend. This way of creating stories together has made Slender Man a chilling example of modern scary tales, making it hard to tell what's real and what's just a story for those who get caught up in his online world. The SCP Foundation is a foundation that finds and keeps strange creatures that don't follow the rules of our world. These creatures are called anomalies, or SCPs. They could be anything, a statue that moves when you don't look at it, or a monster that can't be killed. The Foundation works to protect regular people from these weird and sometimes dangerous creatures. The Foundation keeps all of these anomalies hidden. They don't want the public to know about them because it would cause a lot of fear and chaos. So when they find something new, special teams called the Mobile Task Forces go out to get them. They either bring it back to their secret base, or if it's too big and dangerous to move, they build a containment area around it. They also make sure anyone who sees the anomaly forgets about it immediately. The stories about the SCP Foundation are written by many different people online. Each SCP has its own file, like a secret report explaining what it is and how to keep it contained. Some SCPs are funny, some are spooky, and some are just plain out weird. The cool thing is that there is no single correct story. Everyone can add to the world of the SCP Foundation, making it a giant collection of weird and strange ideas. Ted the Caver is a creepypasta told like a real online diary. It's about a man named Ted and his friend B who love exploring caves. They find a tiny hole in a cave that seems to lead somewhere new. This gets them very excited and they start working hard to make the hole big enough to crawl through. As they dig deeper, strange things begin to happen. They hear odd sounds from inside the hole like scraping noises and strange winds. Sometimes the air in the cave changes and they feel a weird sense of dread. Even when they finally make it through the small opening into the new part of the cave, the creepiness doesn't stop. Ted sees strange symbols on the walls and feels like something's watching them. The story gets more and more unsettling. Ted starts to have nightmares and feels very paranoid even when he's out of the cave. In his last diary entry, he talks about going back into the cave one last time with his friend, this time bringing a gun. The diary abruptly ends there, leaving the reader wondering what happened to Ted. and if he ever found out what was truly lurking in the dark depths of the cave. Here's yet again another creepypasta everyone should know about, Jeff the Killer. I would say this creepypasta is relatively sad, mainly because it victimizes bullying and everything. Coming from a person that was bullied most of their life, it can really impact someone negatively. A good example being the creepypasta of Jeff the Killer. Jeff the Killer, or in this case Jeffrey, his real name, is a famous scary internet story about a boy who turns into a terrifying killer. He's known for his ghostly white skin, a huge carved smile, and dark staring eyes that have no eyelids. The story often begins with Jeff as a normal teenager, but a series of terrible events push him over the edge into madness. One common version of his story involves Jeff being bullied by other kids. During a brutal fight, he gets badly hurt, covered in bleach and alcohol, and then set on fire. When he wakes up in the hospital and sees his burnt, disfigured face, he loses his mind. Instead of being horrified, he sees his new face as beautiful. He then uses a knife to permanently carve a smile into his face and burn off his eyelids so we can always see his perfect reflection. After his transformation, Jeff becomes a cold-blooded killer. He murders his own family and then goes out into the world, sneaking into people's homes at night. His most famous line he whispers before he attacks his victims is, "Go to sleep." The creepypasta of Jeff the Killer has spread far and wide, inspiring countless fan art, stories, and videos, making him one of the most recognizable disturbing figures in online horror history. The Red Mist creepypasta, or widely known as Squidward's, is a disturbing story about a supposed lost episode of the popular cartoon series SpongeBob SquarePants. The tale is often told from the point of view of an intern or editor who stumbles upon a very strange and dark version of an episode. Instead of the usual happy and silly cartoon, the episode is filled with unsettling sounds, strange images, and a growing sense of dread. The creepypasta focuses on Squidward Tentacles, who is usually grumpy, but here is deeply sad and disturbed. As the episode plays, the sound becomes more distorted and the visuals turn disturbing, sometimes showing quick flashes of unsettling images. The main part of the story involves Squidward's clarinet concert going terribly wrong, leading to him being booed off stage. This seems to trigger a complete breakdown in him. The story gets its name from a moment where as Squidward's despair grows, a red mist appears, symbolizing his mental state. The creepypasta usually ends with a truly horrific act of self-harm by Squidward, often accompanied by a final shocking image or sound. The Red Mist story is a classic example of a lost episode creepypasta, playing on the idea that something innocent like a children's cartoon could hide a truly dark and disturbing secret. Cartoon Cat is a scary creature from the internet, part of a collection of monsters made by an artist named Trevor Henderson. He looks like a classic old-timey cartoon character, specifically a black cat, but in a very creepy way. His most unsettling features are his impossibly wide gaping smile and his huge blank eyes, which give him a truly disturbing appearance. He often looks sketched or distorted, as if he's not quite solid. What makes Cartoon Cat so terrifying is his ability to change his shape. He's not just a regular cat, he can stretch his limbs, change his size, and even twist his body into unnatural forms. This allows him to fit into tight spaces, ambush victims, or simply appear in ways that defy physics. He's said to live in old abandoned places like malls or houses, lurking in the shadows and waiting for unsuspecting people. The stories often describe Cartoon Cat as incredibly strong and very dangerous. He's known for being extremely violent and cruel, treating his victims like playthings before causing them terrible harm. The idea behind him is that he is a cartoon character who has somehow broken free into our world, but with all the exaggerated, terrifying abilities of a cartoon villain. He's a monster born from twisted childhood innocence, lurking in the dark corners of the internet's imagination. Hey, what's up guys? I'm sorry to barge in like this, disturb the suspense, but I just wanted to come here and say, if you made it this far, thank you so much. But I wanted to talk about this creepypasta for a bit, because it was one of the first creepypastas I've ever listened to. When I was at the ripe age of 7 years old, bro, when I first heard this, I was traumatized. I didn't want to go to a Chuck E. Cheese for years just because of this one creepypasta. It was just like yesterday that I remember watching it in the room with my cousin, bro. It, it traumatized me, bro. But I'm gonna stop blabbering on about how how I saw it as a kid, and I'm gonna start talking about what it's about. So I'll see you guys at the end of the video. This scary story begins in 2006 when a high school student needs a job to buy a car. He notices a help wanted sign at a Chuck E. Cheese's, even though his town is gripped by fear over several missing teenagers. Surprisingly, the manager, John, hires him on the spot without any interviewing, offering an, and I quote, off the books job. The main task? To maintain the robotic mascot characters by spraying them with a liquid, especially Chucky, because they sometimes get quirky or overheated. The narrator finds this very strange, but is excited to have the job. The job quickly gets weird. The employees give him strange looks, and the manager, John, acts very odd. The Chucky robot is especially creepy. It feels too real, and at one point, it turns its head and opens its mouth when he's cleaning it. Later, he sees it facing him after his lunch break, even though it's supposed to be off. That night, he wakes up to a high-pitched, creepy laughter outside his window and sees a tall, dark figure watching his house. He tries to ignore it, but the next day, the Chucky robot is stolen, and the manager's name turns out to be different online. He thinks nothing of it and continues to work there, but the following night after that, he is horrified to hear the high-pitched laughter once again outside his window. This time, he goes to investigate, and when he opens the blinds to his window, he sees the Chucky mascot right outside his window, looking right at him. He falls back in fear, but by the time he looks back at his window, the mascot is gone. He assumes that it's his coworkers playing a prank on him, putting the Chucky suit on and going to his house, but that is far from the truth. After that encounter, he decides to quit. The next night, when he's alone, he gets a horrifying voicemail from John. John apologizes, saying that they needed the narrator because the creature, the Chucky robot, is getting hungry and needs to eat. He mentions that they can't kill it and that his sacrifice will not be forgotten. As he calls 911 in a panic, the actual Chucky creature appears in his room, terrifying him. He escapes by jumping out his window. The police investigate and later find the dead bodies of the missing teenagers in a hidden room at the Chuck E. Cheese. The place shuts down, but the creature is never found, leaving the narrator with the chilling memory of the high-pitched laughter still sometimes coming from the woods. Well, there's the video, finally. After, 2 years that I said I was gonna make it, and I finally made it. It's gonna be out. It's gonna be out, guys. I do want to thank your guys' love and support for staying subscribed and not unsubscribing like most people do. But I am gonna keep my promise saying that I'm gonna consistently upload. I am gonna try to do that. Next video I'm hoping to do is a YouTube iceberg. So yeah, and thank you once again if you made it to the end of the video. I really appreciate it so much. Before I go, I still want to highly recommend that you listen to that Chuck E. Cheese creepypasta. I'll have it linked in the description so you guys can listen to it. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Yeah, God bless and bye.